Today, I'm going to show you how to make modern techno trance. To go along this video, you can get the full template, project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is at the top of the description on my website. Thanks for the support. Every little bit helps, and let's dive in. Alright, we're at 152 BPM, kind of fast, but it works really well with this groove. First thing we have up here is probably, the biggest thing for the groove, the bass. So here is the actual bass line. These are 16th notes with like a little bit of overlap into the next bit. But you can see it's just straight on the upbeats, very simple. Obviously works really well with the kick too. That's probably the first tip I would say for the bass is like, it's not just the bass, it's how it fits with the kick really. But this is playing the chord progression. So what we're doing is we're in the key of D sharp minor. We're going D sharp minor, F sharp major, G sharp minor, which is the fourth, so it's like root note third, fourth, and then the sixth, seventh, and then back up to the root. Very simple. So for the sound here, it's just a saw wave, an operator. The reason I love operator for these is this one thing right here, the phase. So basically, the reason this little R here stands for re-trigger. So if I turn that off, check out what happens. Yeah, it's kind of inconsistent and it's not like that same punchy bass every single time. So yeah, for these trance basses, you really want that phase to be resetting every time. And you can play with this too. Like depending on where you set it, it'll sound different. But operator's the only one that's got that. So we got a low pass filter with a bit of an envelope. We're just cutting out a bit of sub. You want to cut this pretty high, honestly, I found. Because you definitely don't want too much kind of messing up your track. And then we're converting it to mono. Then we got the kick, just a fat 909. Made it a little shorter. I'm cutting out some sub and then converting that to mono. We've also got like the rest of just the main drums. Right, I try to get these good with the bass before moving to anything else. So we just have like a very fat 909 hi-hat. Super short. Goes well with that kick. We've got a clap, 909, and then we're layering that with an 808. So we've got a little bit of background percussion. You can hear these two are kind of doing like call and response, so it creates some background groove. This thing is just, adding a little bit more right to that. And then we got some live loops as well. Like some tambourines and some bongos. And then when you put all those drums together and the bass, there you go. As long as you start with those main drums, you can't really go wrong adding this extra stuff. So then we've got the lead. So what we're doing here is we're actually kind of walking up to the root note. So this is, again, we're in the key of D sharp minor you saw from the bass line, but since we're starting here on the 7th actually, it's like we're resolving it in that first, right? And then it goes to the 5th, 6th, 5th, and like really playing with that. And it really interacts well with the bass line and the chord progression. So for the actual sound here, it's made with wavetable. What we got is we have a sine wave with some sync, and then also this FM fold here. And then if you look at the matrix, you see they're actually not being modulated, but it just creates this like... We've also got the noise unison, which if I turn that off, that sounds cool too, but obviously this takes it to something different. We just have a little bit of delay, auto pan to make it bounce off the kick as if it's being sidechained. And then we have this little sort of chord pad. So I've heard this in a lot of these tracks, and basically what it's doing is creating like a droning sort of chord pattern. You can see it starts on the D sharp minor, right? So it starts with our basic, it's all notes that we've used already kind of. But you can see it's just sort of contrasting the chord progression. And as long as it's all in key like that, it'll sound really nice. If I turn off the delay, you can see it's just doing that, and then you just put a ton of delay. And you can kind of create this like wall of sound. It's a very simple patch, just saw wave, a little bit of envelope on the filter. Auto pan to make it bounce off the kick, and then high pass. And then the last synth we got is this pad. can hear this is another one where it's not following the chord progression. It's kind of playing its own, but it's based on just the basic D sharp minor. Like it's droning just the D sharp and then the fifth, the A sharp. And then we got like our minor third, fourth, ninth. Right, so it's very simple, but it just adds an extra sort of element of musicality. Especially when it's not following the same exact thing. It makes it sound really epic. So for this, it's a triangle wave with noise unison. So that gives you like a very interesting texture. It's almost like vocal or something. We've got a little bit of a reverb, auto pan to make it bounce off the kick, side chain again, and then just a high pass. And then we have a few little vocals as well, kind of in the background. Right, if you hear those with the track. You know, simple stuff that just adds a bit of melody. You see, the processing on these is really simple. You know, it's nothing that you don't pretty much hear already. Just delay and reverb, side chaining, and then high pass. It's really more about the vocal. Like, everybody wants to know what's that magical vocal chain, but like,
if you believe in love,
you know, like that's a dope vocal that just sounds good no matter what you put it through. It's not about having some plugin that's gonna save your vocal. You just have to find really good vocals. Same thing here, like this goes really well at the end of that bar there. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file on my website. Links right at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, everybody. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.